and gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. Here.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harret Sean Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harret Sean Calfunny, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.
ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean, welcome in peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into Science with Sean. I just kind of did this impromptu. I think Garfield still might be live, but I wanted to go ahead and cover some stuff that I began to discuss a few days ago on my way out of town, and I could barely be heard. I don't know if Ogun gonna show up, but if he does, I'm gonna give him a link because there was some stuff that he wanted to get off, and kind of go from there. I was in a, pretty much just a little phone call with the fellas a minute ago, and we just talking about a couple of things that we're trying to do and things of that nature. I don't know if many of you who are joining the chat right now, I don't know if you've seen or bear witness to the video that I basically just displayed. A new video. We got some stuff coming soon. So again, man, like the show, share the show, tell a friend, rock with us, support the channel, like, share, subscribe. Anyone catching a replay, appreciate it. We'll go from there. So, let's get into the conversation. One more thing before we do this, let me go ahead and put this out there right now. All right. Well, again, that was a copyright disclaimer that I had to go ahead and put on the screen, in case I do get into any type of video or anything like that to help people understand what's going on. So, let me go ahead and see who all in the chat. Shout out to Omar, Miss Blackwell, how you doing? Marlon, Tika was good. Keenan, Truth Ministers, what up, bruh? Anybody else tuned in and watching, peace to you as well. And those who will be coming in as the stream is going. We're not going to be all day. We're going to get straight to the point. We're going to get to the work. And then we're going to go from there. Do I need to pull this video up? What dude called me live? Nah, I ain't going to do that to nobody right now. Sue taking Kofi in the chat. Step and Rob probably somewhere trying to get something together. Peace to everybody. All right, so 2 days ago, I started a conversation about breakthrough infections, and I was talking about people dying from breakthrough infections. And long story short, we were referring to a brother in Mississippi and a sister in Texas who recently had died due to um, a breakthrough infection that led to their death, and they marked it as a COVID death. And so they they didn't necessarily blame the vaccine. They just said that the people were fully vaccinated and that they had a breakthrough infection and died. So I wanted to deal with understanding a little bit about breakthrough infections and a little bit more about okay, whatever, Kofi. A little bit about breakthrough infections and a little bit more about what we should be asking or what we should be learning from what has taken place. So, without any data, I'm going to say this. The vaccine is used to prevent the spread of disease, hospitalization, and death. The vaccines are 94 and 95% infectious against all the variants except for Delta. The Delta variant reduces efficacy from 94 to 88% in Moderna, from 96 to 64 in Pfizer, which is still a susceptible number because the flu vaccines is between 50 and 60%. And J&J is in like 54% percentile. All right. So the Delta variant is leading the charge to create an avenue to where boosters are required for immunocompromised people and possibly everyone else just because of the variant. Not necessarily the fact that we need a booster shot, because they're just trying to, increase the protection to decrease hospitalization, to decrease death, right? Because these breakthroughs are reducing, in some people, reducing the immune response. Okay, so now that we kind of got that clear, we can lay out the argument. Well, we can get back to what I was basically stating. So, the brother and sister that died from breakthrough infection, this is basically what the data is saying. 5 to 6% of the people will die from the the vaccine just won't protect 5 to 6% of the population. You had 180 million, you expect to have some deaths. However, in the instance of these breakthrough infections and what seems to have transpired between the sheriff in Mississippi and the sister in Texas, are unanswered questions. We don't know if they had pre-existing conditions. We don't know which vaccine that they had. We don't know if it's Johnson & Johnson. We don't know if it's Pfizer. We don't know if it's Moderna. We don't know if it is an mRNA vaccine. We don't know how are they judging fully vaccinated, because you could go get 2 vaccines and even after the second shot, you have this grace period of 10 to 14 days before they consider you to be fully vaccinated. So was it after between the 10 and 14 days after that these people are claiming to be fully vaccinated? We don't know. So there's questions that we have to ask in order to properly understand what someone is saying to us when they say someone had a breakthrough infection and died, right? Did they have any pre-existing conditions? Because you're still going to be infected. The infection can trigger certain things, and that can take you out. But if they had an infection and disease spread, what happened? Which vaccine was it? We still don't know. Yeah, and there's another death in Oregon. So you got Oregon, Texas, Mississippi. But we just don't have all the data to answer the questions when people are trying to push these things as, see, they fully vaccinated and still died. Those one-off, those anecdotals, right? What up, Bilou? So as I was saying, as I was driving and I kept getting breaking up, I was trying to help people understand that when you have these infections, the vaccine's job is to reduce the spread of disease and the symptoms. The luxury of that is to reduce the symptoms so that we have an asymptomatic response. It's not going to work. Everybody's not going to have an asymptomatic response. You're going to have people that have a severe response because they may have underlying conditions that could have been provoked, which could lead to the death. And the sheriff, I think he was overweight. I think the sister was overweight. Either or, it doesn't really matter. But when people are posing this information to you, you should be immediately asking them how long after their vaccination, after their second vaccination. Well, let me reword that. Long story short, just ask the people, which vaccine did they have? And then how long after their second vaccine did this transpire? Right? And did they have any underlying conditions? What provoked this situation? Because they're going to label it COVID death. Yeah, when I say asymptomatic, I mean mild. Little to no reaction. So what I want to do is I just wanted to get that out so that people can fully understand what I was saying and just condense it and make it short instead of long and drawn out. We don't know which vaccine these people had. We don't know if this was in between shots. We don't know if they were really fully vaccinated people. Because everyone should know, if you're fully vaccinated, between that 10, 14-day period after the second vaccine is when they label you as fully vaccinated. Because it's going to take that time period for your body, even after the first vaccine and then even after the booster, to help train your immune system and build it up and prepare to fight. All right, so I want to bring something up for y'all. I want to bring something up that we really didn't get into. Hold on one second.
Vaccinated, that's untrue. They talk about over 10,000. It's just really acceptability. Another point in the history that may come that looks like it, some cases have gotten to the States is mostly variants. So it's going to go. Is not accurate. Check this post out.
If you believe money is the root of all.
I don't keep it. Saturday, 10 a.m. Phone number 404-604-9477 or find us on social media on IG _dialogue and DM me or on Facebook at Mental Dialogue. If you are an individual and want to keep Intelligent Radio on the air, please go to mentaldialogue.com and become a supporter or a member. We actually have a caller that wants to get in. Area code 2440, last 3590. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your 3 cents on this morning's discussion.
Good day, Montoya. This is Troy. Troy Lotion out of Prince George's County, Maryland. I was just quite disturbed at the information that I believe your guest Sean stated a few minutes ago about the Massachusetts reports that no one died who was fully vaccinated. That's untrue. They talk about over 10,000 fully vaccinated people have caught COVID, so they call those breakthrough infections, and over 100 of them have died, and many of them were, and that's from the Massachusetts Department of Health. and many of them are have serious conditions. They are hospitalized for serious conditions. Also, there's reports of over 169 deaths in Illinois, and then once again, many seriously hospitalized people of the fully vaccinated population. So, and this is all over the country. It's just that a lot of this, information is censored through mainstream media because they are corporate owned and they have their pharmaceutical influence. And if you don't understand corruption, you won't understand the censorship, the high levels of censorship and manipulation of data and reporting and government reporting. So it's very important that we have the accurate information and not believing, mainstream media and reporting lies and repeating bad information. And then if you look at the, there's reported vaccine adverse event reporting system, then you see reports of 12,000 deaths and 5,000 heart attacks and many other Bell's palsy, miscarriages, heart attacks, and a whole bunch of other adverse effects. And that only captures 1% of less than 1% of the adverse effects. So that stuff is also reported. So there's thousands of doctors and scientists that are challenging the vaccines. They're calling it not safe. Some are calling it not safe. Some calling it not effective. Some say not necessary. And then there's all three. And the fact that those doctors are often silent, and their websites are being, taken down. And
Sean, don't do that on the show, bro.
They're not being given proper platforms. You have to go, into the, there be a silence on Facebook, Twitter, of course, mainstream news, and it's just really disgusting. Science cannot flourish when alternative viewpoints are being silenced and censored, and of course, our government is very, very corrupt. So the CDC has been caught in so many lies, and the NIH and
let me jump in, brother. I got another caller as well. So I wanted to say thank you for your 3 cents. One question I had, if you could just briefly, because I got one other caller and we got to get out of here, is the numbers that you have. Always, because again, I know you, Troy. Thank you for calling in. So even with the numbers that you're having, does it change the percentages in a major way? And what I mean is, I think Sean may have mentioned that 99% are unvaccinated. And so if the numbers that you're seeing are reported, would it change the number to 50% or 40%? Or is it that the vaccinated people who are obviously having the breakthrough cases, does it change it to 3% or 5%? I don't know if you've made that comparison, but that's just a quick question I have. And if you haven't made the comparison, then I respect it. But I'm just asking, does it move the needle a lot or a little in your opinion?
Yeah, it certainly moves the needle a lot. In fact, Israel and a lot of their reporting, they talk about 80% of their adult population has got the Pfizer vaccine. That's pretty much the only vaccine they're using. 60% of hospitalized are of the vaccinated population. So we don't know.
Okay, so that 9% there. That makes sense.
That number is still
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I got to go to another caller, brother. Thanks a lot.
All right, so let's go back. For people who are just now joining us, I want y'all to hear this again. And this dude had plenty of time to get this off, and he was uninterrupted.
Yes. And I love, what's their IG?
At Mental Dialogue. If you are an individual and want to keep Intelligent Radio on the air, please go to mentaldialogue.com and become a supporter or a member. We actually have a caller that wants to get in. Area code 2440, last 3590. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your 3 cents on this morning's discussion.
Good day, Montoya. This is Troy. Troy Lotion out of Prince George's County, Maryland. I was just quite disturbed at the information that I believe your guest Sean stated a few minutes ago about the Massachusetts reports that no one died who was fully vaccinated.
All right. This is my show. See, I ain't got to be censored. It's my show. So let me do this right. Let me do this right, and then I'm going to do that. So, all I'm gonna go to the Massachusetts study. I'm just gonna go to the news place. Let me go here. And let me find where I need to be. And we're gonna walk through if I lied. Because if I lied, because I specifically said out of the Massachusetts study, no one who was vaccinated died. That's what I said. He said I was wrong. And then he said I need to go look at these alternate sites and Facebook groups and other things to deal with those deaths. So this gonna deal with breakthrough. This gonna deal with breakthrough. But right here it says, among the breakthroughs, 44 and hospitalized and 106 have died. So let's see. Let's get a better picture of this live. Let's go to Boston. 106 fully vaccinated people have died from COVID in Massachusetts. But this doesn't have anything to do with the study. This is just a statewide. Okay, and that's 0.002% of fully vaccinated individuals in the state. But that's not what I'm looking for. What I am looking for specifically is the Massachusetts study. So CDC shows 74% of the people infected in the Massachusetts COVID outbreak were fully vaccinated. About 3/4 of the people had COVID. The new data published Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report found fully vaccinated people got infected, carry as much as virus as unvaccinated people. This ain't gonna answer my question. Might. So the data published Friday was based on 469 cases of COVID associated with multiple summer events at a large public gathering in Barnstable County, Massachusetts, which encompasses Cape Cod. Approximately 3/4 of 74% of the cases occurred in fully vaccinated people who completed a 2-dose course of mRNA vaccines or received a single shot Johnson & Johnson. Over 274 vaccinated patients with breakthrough infections was symptomatic, according to CDC. Most common side effects was cough, headache, sore throat, muscle pain, and fever. Among 5 patients who were hospitalized, 4 were fully vaccinated. According to the agency, no deaths were reported. Okay. Let's go back. Let's hit a brother again.
Good day, Montoya. This is Troy. Troy Lotion out of Prince George's County, Maryland. I was just quite disturbed at the information that I believe your guest Sean stated a few minutes ago about the Massachusetts reports that no one died who was fully vaccinated. That's untrue. They talk about over 10,000 fully vaccinated people have have caught COVID. So they call those breakthrough infections. And over 100 of them have died. And many of them were, and that's from Massachusetts.
All right. So he said I lied, but he wasn't aware of what I was talking about, because in the presentation, I said, I cited 2 studies when we talked about the risk reward. So for many people who didn't hear the bill, let me go back and let me help you out.
We just want to get the data to be transparent. He thinks play that now gives us that. Dr. Malone. Trying to keep.
All right, so here we go. I knew I had it right.
Base point versus right now they're not putting that out there publicly. Is how I heard that. What do you have out there, Sean, in reference to the risk analysis with people considering this vaccine or not? Hold on one second, brother. Let me bring it live. So I apologize again, just been having some background noise. I've been trying to keep it down. All right, I got you live now. Go ahead, brother Sean. Okay, so here's my response to Dr. Malone. First, I'm gonna use a real-time study. I'm gonna use 2. Let's go back to what was mentioned by Jack when he brought up Massachusetts, the Massachusetts incident. What the Massachusetts incident showed is what I'm going to clear up for Dr. Malone. Now, all right, the Massachusetts study showed in real time just how effective the vaccine is at preventing disease, hospitalization, and death. When you look at the overall complexity of the people infected in that study, and then you go back and see the hospitalization numbers, there were no deaths, 0 deaths. All right. And you had very low symptoms from people. That is a safe and infectious vaccine. Now, we all know that the efficacy levels nothing is 100%. So we expect some things to happen as far as the safety and the side effects and the risk reward. The safety and side effects show that these are normal symptoms that you get when you get the vaccine. Just like if you got any 2nd generation, 1st generation vaccines, they're the same thing that people have always complained about. But this is a step that the CDC took to enhance safety protocols. They created an app, right? They created a reporting system. So they could do day-to-day check-ins on people to allow them to report their symptoms. After reporting your symptoms, right, depending on the degree, they would say you need to call your doctor, and then they would the CDC will give you a follow-up call within 24 hours if there were severe issues. Now, that data was used and collected. This went all the way across the United States, where everyone who has all 180 million people that are fully vaccinated now, or I'll forget the specific number, but everyone had an opportunity to download the app and go through that. I still get text messages to this day that just slowed down because I'm further removed from my vaccination date, but that is how data is collected. So now, the other study that I wanted to bring up was naturally infected people, right? We saw to the tune of worldwide of over 4.5 million people or more, and still counting, have died from this. Now, what slow?
All right. So the first thing that I said is that I was bringing up. Excuse me. What up, Robert Rand, EIE, Stacy? What's up? Benita, what's good? Tika again, what's good? What's going on? Now, I said when I opened up to answer the question regarding Robert Malone and his claim about the safety and efficacy, I immediately stated right then and there that I'm citing 2 studies. I didn't say anything about I didn't say anything about Massachusetts, where you have this information right here. I ain't say none of that. Even still, right? Massachusetts public health officials reported 9,969 total COVID breakthrough cases in fully vaccinated individuals in August. Okay. This is what this dude was citing. So when I said what I said, he ran to this. This is not a study. This is the state. And then he doesn't even mention this. To date, 0.23% of vaccinated individuals in Massachusetts have tested positive with a breakthrough case, and 0.002% of the vaccinated individuals have died. He didn't say that. He stayed right here, but he's wrong because I never cited the state of Massachusetts. I said the Massachusetts study. What is the Massachusetts study? This is the Massachusetts study. This is it right here. What is already known is what we're discussing right here. What is added to the report is already what we discussed right here. What I am referring to is Barnstable County, Massachusetts, with multiple summer events and large public gatherings. He says, I lied. Montoya let him rock out too, and then asked him that dumbass question about some data. It's going to be high. He said it's a data higher. So here we go.
And all other streaming platforms. We are the return of the. Just quite disturbed at the information that I believe your guest Sean stated a few minutes ago about the Massachusetts reports that no one died who was fully vaccinated. That's untrue. They talk about over 10,000 fully vaccinated people have caught COVID. So they call those breakthrough.
All right. So again, you heard him say that I lied. By July 26, a total of 469 COVID-19 cases were identified among Massachusetts residents. Dates of positive specimen collections range from July 6 through July 25th. Most cases occurred in males, 85% medium age, 40 years. Nearly one half, 199 or 42% reported residents in Barnstable County. Overall, 346 or 74% of the persons with COVID-19 reported symptoms consistent with COVID-19. 5 were hospitalized. As of July 27th, no deaths were reported. As of July 27th, no deaths were reported. One hospitalized patient, aged between 50 and 59, was not vaccinated and had multiple underlying conditions. 4 additional fully vaccinated patients between 20 and 70 years of age were also hospitalized, 2 of whom had underlying medical conditions. Initial genomic sequencing of specimens from 133 identified Delta variant. 119 or 89% of those cases had the Delta AY.3 sublineage. In 1% case, genomic sequencing was not successful for 13 or 10% of the specimens. Then it goes on to say among the 469 cases in Massachusetts residents, 346 occurred in persons who were fully vaccinated. 301 were male and of the age median of 42 years old. Vaccine products received by the persons experienced breakthrough infections were Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen. A higher percentage being Pfizer, and then Moderna, and then Janssen. Among fully vaccinated persons in Massachusetts, general population of 56% had received Pfizer and BioNTech, 38% Moderna, 7% Janssen. In the Massachusetts study, there were no deaths. In the Massachusetts study, there were no deaths. Okay, CNBC reports in the Massachusetts study, there were no deaths. This is a more simple version. And at the very end, it says there were no deaths were reported. So when he called me a liar, he was wrong. But I'm gonna run it back one more time since I'm a liar. And it's my channel. I can do it too.
Just quite disturbed at the information that I believe your guest Sean stated a few minutes ago about the Massachusetts reports that no one died who was fully vaccinated. That's untrue. They talk about over 10,000 fully vaccinated people have caught COVID. So they call those breakthrough infections, and over 100 of them have died, and many of them were, and that's from the Massachusetts Department of Health.
Deaths
and
were
many of them
reported.
have serious conditions and are hospitalized for serious conditions. Also, there's reports of over 169 deaths in Illinois. And then once again, many seriously hospitalized people
reported.
of the fully vaccinated.
This brother went from Massachusetts to Illinois. Sean mentioned the Massachusetts study in Barnstable, Massachusetts, where they had 2 events. Sean mentioned Massachusetts study, not Massachusetts the state, not Illinois, Massachusetts study. And then he goes on to say that there were 12,000 deaths reported by VAERS. That's also a lie. He said 12,000. Fact check reports of 9,300 vaccine deaths do not provide causality. Now, here it is. On July 21st, 2021, the CDC said it received 6,207 reports of people who had died. Excuse me. July 21, 2021, the CDC said that they had 6,207. So are you going to tell me from July 21 to August 13th, there was 3,800 deaths reported that fast? That's a lot of deaths really fast. As of, look. Through August 9th, listen, from December 14, 2020 through August 9th, 2021, during this time, VAERS received 6,631 reported deaths, which would be 0.0019% among people who received the COVID-19 vaccine.
Population. So, and this is all over the country. It's just that a lot of this, information is censored through mainstream media because, they are corporate owned and they have their pharmaceutical influence. And if you don't understand corruption, you won't understand the censorship, the high levels of censorship and manipulation of data and reporting and government reporting. So it's very important that we have the accurate information and not believing, mainstream media and reporting lies and repeating bad information. And then if you look at the, VAERS reported vaccine adverse event reporting system, then you see reports of 12,000 deaths and 5,000 heart attacks and many other Bell's palsy, miscarriages, heart attacks, and a whole bunch of other adverse effects. And that. Can you open up?
So again, the brother just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Because between December 2020 and August 9th, almost we just a few months away from a year. And we're talking vaccine deaths. You have reported 6,631. But it gets worse. Reports of adverse events to VAERS following vaccination includes death do not necessarily mean that a vaccine caused a health problem. It's on the VAERS reporting system site. It is a reporting system. It is not proof. He was wrong with the number that was reported to VAERS, and then he doesn't understand that VAERS is a reporting system and not confirmed. But I'm the liar.
We vaccinated. That's untrue. They talk about or remember, we actually have a caller that wants to get in. Area code 2440, last 3590. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your 3 cents on this morning's discussion. Good day, Montoya. This is Troy. Troy Lotion out of Prince George's County, Maryland. I was just quite disturbed at the information that I believe your guest Sean stated a few minutes ago about the Massachusetts reports that no one died who was fully vaccinated. That's untrue. They talk about over 10,000 fully vaccinated people have caught COVID, so they call those breakthrough infections, and over 100 of them have died, and many of them were, and that's from the Massachusetts Department of Health, and many of them have serious conditions and are hospitalized for serious conditions. Also, there's reports of over 169 deaths in Illinois. And then, once again, many seriously hospitalized people of the fully vaccinated population. So, and this is all over the country. It's just that a lot of this, information is censored in Illinois. And then, once again, many seriously hospitalized people of the fully vaccinated population. So,
seriously hospitalized people. I ain't even gotta go that far. Let's just use the search engine. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to go. That's bias. This is bias. It's bias. I don't want to use bias. Horrible. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I actually have provided this source before. And what I'm going to do is this source speaks to about 24 reporting states that deal with breakthrough infection cases, illnesses, deaths, and so on and so forth. So meet the KFF report of breakthrough cases, data from states. While COVID is a highly effective preventable disease, it goes through and talks about it's not 100% vaccine. And we're going to go through a state-by-state cases. Now, what is important to know is this information right here. Not all hospitalizations and deaths of those fully vaccinated and diagnosed with COVID-19 are due to COVID-19 or have a known cause at the time of reporting. The CDC reported on July 19, 5,601 hospitalized breakthrough cases, 27% were asymptomatic or not related to COVID-19, 1,141 fatal cases, 26% were asymptomatic, not related to COVID-19. States deferring whether they provide this detail. DC, for an example, reported on the 11th of July, 50% of hospitalized breakthrough cases were due to COVID-19, 19% were not, and 31% were unknown. However, a few states made these distinctions. Where they did, we only included breakthrough hospitalizations and deaths due to COVID-19. In other cases, some of these breakthrough events may be due to causes other than COVID-19. However, we have 25 reporting states. All right. And so let's take a look at the reporting states. So in figure 1, we have percent of fully vaccinated individuals that have experienced a breakthrough event. Okay. Now you have yellow, fully vaccinated people who have died. So let's deal with the yellow. Out of the reporting people, right? This is out of the reporting people. This Alaska, Arizona, California, Connecticut, Delaware, DC, Idaho didn't report anything. Illinois, Indiana, Maine, and Massachusetts didn't have anything here. Michigan, not Michigan, Montana, Nebraska didn't. New Jersey, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Oregon, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, Washington. My state of Tennessee reported 0 deaths from COVID-19 in fully vaccinated people. However, you had Arkansas, 0.01, Michigan, 0.01. That's it. Report someone dying from COVID-19. He says this is happening all over the world. Now, it's unfortunate that we don't have all 50 states reporting to this site where we could have more information to provide with you to get the rest of the country. But with the 25 states that we have information from, I mean, this can give you some type of idea that if we get half the country reporting pretty much a 0.01, and then you get to add now that is going to be a 0.0001, you don't have a large portion of people who are dying from, who are fully vaccinated and died. So what I'm trying to show everybody here is that based on the reporting that we have, fully vaccinated people who have died with COVID-19, you had a 0.1% report in Arkansas. You had a 0.1% reporting in Michigan. Let's include Texas, and Oregon has 1 now. Okay, but we don't have Texas on here, and Oregon needs a report now. So let's go to hospitalizations. This brother said people are hospitalized all over the world, all over the country. It's happening all over the country. So you get Arkansas reporting Alaska reporting 0.01. You have Arkansas at 0.06. Arkansas, Mississippi, places like Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama have very low vaccination rates. They're heavily Republican, and those people don't believe in vaccinations until it's too late. So I expect to see Arkansas to be high. California, hospitalized, 0%. Look at how big California is. Think about the population in California. They ain't reporting this stuff. Arkansas has got the highest percentage. Everybody else is 0.01. You got Illinois, Michigan, Montana, Oklahoma, Oregon, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Utah, and Washington all reporting a 0.01% of their total population of fully vaccinated people. Now, fully vaccinated people with COVID-19 diagnosis. This is where it gets murky, because it doesn't tell us specifically which vaccine these people have, but we had a reporting, so we have to honor it. All right, so you got 0.54% in Arkansas, the most by far. You have to remember that Arkansas ain't got people vaccinated. It really ain't helping nobody. Alaska, 0.29%. Arizona is 0.05%. California, 0.10%. Connecticut, 0.01%. Delaware, 0.10%. DC, 0.04%. Idaho, 0.10%. I mean, it goes on and on. Like, the most we're going to see is Alaska, Arkansas, Utah, with high percentages. And let me see what else. Idaho, Delaware, California, Montana, respectively around 10 and 11%. Everybody up 0.10% or 0.11% and lower. Okay, so let's move on. Almost all more than 9 in 10 COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths had occurred among people who are unvaccinated or not fully vaccinated. See, y'all didn't know that. Now, in those states reporting breakthrough data, We got to see figure 2. However, the reported share of COVID-19 cases among not fully vaccinated range from 94.1% in Arizona to 99.85% in Connecticut. The share of hospitalizations among those with COVID who are not fully vaccinated range from 95% in Alaska to 99.93% in New Jersey. All right, hospitalizations may or may not have been due to COVID. The shared deaths among the people in COVID-19 who are not fully vaccinated was 96.9% in Montana to 99% in New Jersey. Deaths may or may not be due to COVID. So basically what I'm summarizing here is the high percentage of unvaccinated versus fully vaccinated and how the data shifts to all unvaccinated people. All right, so here's a share overall of COVID-19 cases for those fully vaccinated versus those who are not fully vaccinated, as mentioned. Now, one of these things I could hit, hold up, cases. Okay, cases, hospitalizations, deaths. So what you're going to see here is this number won't change. The orange, it's this number in the center that changes. So we can go per each state, cases, but we really care about hospitalization. So Alaska, 5% to their 95% fully vaccinated. Arkansas, 4% share overall hospitalizations among fully vaccinated compared to what? Not fully. You got me? I don't want anybody to be confused here. These are vaccinated, unvaccinated. The orange is unvaccinated. All right, California, 99% of the people that's in the hospital are unvaccinated people. 99% in Delaware, 99% in DC, 98% in Illinois, 99% in Indiana, 98% in Michigan, 97% in Montana, 99% in New Jersey, 99% in New Mexico, 99% in Oklahoma, 96% in Oregon, 95% in Rhode Island, 99% in Tennessee, 95% in Utah, 98% in Vermont, 98% in Virginia, 97% in Washington are unvaccinated. Overall hospitalizations. All right. Now note that as more people get vaccinated, the share of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths accounted for by unvaccinated people will tend to fall, since there will be fewer unvaccinated people in the population. That will be true even if infection, hospitalization, and death from COVID-19 is still very rare among vaccinated people. Okay, so let's move on and let's deal with breakthrough event data. I really don't have to get too much into this. This chart is a little bit more specific. We know breakthrough cases exist, but let's deal with Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, and California. You have updated frequencies. As you can see here, they do theirs weekly, periodically, one time, weekly. So we really don't get a lot from Arkansas because of the way, Arkansas because of the way they report it. All right, so the total number of fully vaccinated people in Arkansas is 1 million. That's crazy. California, 20 million. Arizona, 3.2. Alaska's got 300,000. Total number of COVID-19 cases during observation period, 23,000, 29,000, 157,000, 1.5 million. Number of fully vaccinated people diagnosed with COVID, 948, 1,700 to their 3 million, 5,600 to their 1 million, 21,000 to their 20 million. The number of COVID-19 hospitalizations during the observation period, 564. No reports from Arizona. 13,000 from Arkansas. 118,000 from California. Fully vaccinated people hospitalized with COVID-19. 28 in Alaska. 627 in Arkansas. 934 in Cali. Total number of observations, 38,000 Cali, 2,600 in Arkansas, 9,000 in Arizona, 86 in Alaska. Number of fully vaccinated people who have died with COVID-19. Look at this. And I'm going to just we're going to pay attention to the last column because these are the people who have died. Okay. So out of the fully vaccinated people, 331,000 in Alaska, only 2 people died. 3 million in Arizona, 92 people died. Arkansas, 68 people died. All right. And California, out of 20 million people fully vaccinated, only 93 people died. Okay. You had 1 million people in Connecticut, only 3 people died. 500,000 in Delaware, 8 people. 4 people in the District of Columbia. You had 6 million people vaccinated in Illinois, only 159. 2.8 million, almost 3 million people in Indiana, 46. There's no data from Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri. But Maine, they had no reports of no deaths. Maine reported no deaths from fully vaccinated people. Massachusetts reported no deaths from fully vaccinated people. Nebraska reported no deaths from fully vaccinated people. Michigan had 217 deaths out of 4.8 million people vaccinated. Montana had 10 deaths to they don't know how many, 468,000. New Jersey had 7 deaths to its 2.8 million people fully vaccinated. New Mexico had 1 million people vaccinated, only 6 deaths. You had 19 deaths in Oklahoma to 1.5 million fully vaccinated. You had 2.2 million in Oregon. You only had 11 deaths. Rhode Island had 700,000 fully vaccinated, no deaths. You had 31 in Tennessee, my state. We had 2.6 million people fully vaccinated, only 31 deaths. Vermont didn't have any deaths reported to its 400,000 people. Utah, 1.4 million people fully vaccinated, only 9 deaths. Virginia and Washington, respectively, both have 4 million people or 4-point-something million people. You had 37 in Virginia and 48 in Washington. West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming didn't report any data. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the chat for people who may be interested in want to kind of deal with it themselves and go through and look. And it's also in the description, as you can see in the video. Okay, so let's go back a little bit, hit his brother again since he hit us with the judo, wudo.
Sex, gender, and business in the African American community. And remember, phone number 404-604-9477, or find us on social media on IG at mental_dialogue and DM me, or on Facebook at Mental Dialogue. If you are an individual and want to keep Intelligent Radio on the air, please go to mentaldialogue.com and become a supporter or a member. We actually have a caller that wants to get in. Area code 2440, last 3590. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your 3 cents on this morning's discussion.
Good day, Montoya. This is Troy. Troy Lotion out of Prince George's County, Maryland. I was just quite disturbed at the information that I believe your guest Sean stated a few minutes ago about the Massachusetts reports that no one died who was fully vaccinated. That's untrue. They talk about over 10,000 fully vaccinated people have caught COVID. So they call those breakthrough infections. and over 100 of them have died, and many of them were, and that's from the Massachusetts Department of Health, and many of them are have serious conditions. They are hospitalized for serious conditions. Also, there's reports of over 169 deaths in Illinois, and then once again, many seriously hospitalized people of the fully vaccinated population. So, and this is all over the country. It's just that a lot of this, information is censored through mainstream media because, they are corporate owned and they have their pharmaceutical influence. And if you don't understand corruption, you won't understand the censorship, the high levels of censorship and manipulation of data and reporting and government reporting. So it's very important that we have the accurate information and not believing, mainstream media and reporting lies and repeating bad information. And then if you look at there's reported vaccine adverse event reporting system, then you see reports of 12,000 deaths and 5,000 heart attacks and many other Bell's palsy, miscarriages, heart attacks, and a whole bunch of other adverse effects. And that only captures 1% of less than 1% of the adverse effects. So that stuff is also reported. So there's thousands of doctors and scientists that are challenging the vaccines. They're calling it non-safe. Some are calling it not safe. Some calling it not effective. Some say not necessary. And then there's all three. And the fact that those doctors are often silent and their websites are being, taken down. And
Sean, don't do that on the show, bro.
They're not being given proper platforms. You have to go, into the, there be a silence on Facebook, Twitter, of course, mainstream news, and it's just really disgusting. Science cannot flourish when alternative viewpoints are being silenced and censored, and of course, our government is very, very corrupt. So the CDC has been called.
Now, the government is very corrupt. There's censorship going on with misinformation. There's all these other vocal points that he's making an argument for. He even called me a liar and said that what I said was a lie. So he called me a liar. I cited a study. He cited a statewide case. So I'm a liar. That's what he said. He called me a liar. And then he went on a conspiracy rant. And then he said that people's being censored. Well, how the hell does he think that listen, every video after a break, Montoya played a clip from a conspiracy theorist. These are the people that he used. Robert Malone. He used Daniel Stock. He used Peter McCullough. All right. He used somebody else. I can't remember. But each one of the people that he used were part of the misinformation campaign. These are supposed to be doctors. Because they see DR by their name, everyone assumed that these people are virologists, immunologists, and epidemiologists, and they can pass off the information as such. So let me see what else he says.
There's so many lies on the NIH and
let me jump in, brother. I have another caller as well. So I wanted to say thank you for your 3 cents. One question I had, if you could just briefly, because I got one other caller and we got to get out of here, is the numbers that you have. Always, because again, I know you, Troy. Thank you for calling in. So even with the numbers that you're having, does it change the percentages in a major way? And what I mean is, I think Sean may have mentioned that 99% are unvaccinated. And so if the numbers that you're seeing are reported, would it change the number to 50% or 40%? Or is it that the vaccinated people who are obviously having the breakthrough cases, does it change it to 3% or 5%? I don't know if you've made that comparison, but that's just a quick question I have. And if you haven't made the comparison, then I respect it. But I'm just asking, does it move the needle a lot or a little in your opinion?
yeah, it certainly moves the needle a lot. In fact, Israel and a lot of their reporting, they talk about 80% of their adult population has got the Pfizer vaccine. That's pretty much the only vaccine they're using. 60% of hospitalized are of the vaccinated population. So we don't know.
Okay, so
that
99%
is
is that makes sense.
That number is still.
No, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. I gotta go to another caller, brother. Thanks a lot.
All right. So he says that the numbers would reflect a lot, right? The numbers would reflect a lot. So let's continue to read the article. While numerous studies have shown that vaccines don't work as well as against the Delta variant as they did against other strands, health officials say they are still highly effective, especially in protecting against what? Severe illness and death. Roughly 97% of new hospitalizations and 99.5% of deaths in the U.S. are among unvaccinated individuals. U.S. health officials repeated this week. The CDC also said that data has limitations. The agencies noted that as population level vaccination coverage increases, vaccination persons are likely to represent a larger proportion of COVID cases. Additionally, asymptomatic breakthrough infections might be underrepresented because of the detection bias, the agency said. The CDC also said that the report is insufficient to draw conclusions about the effectiveness of the authorized vaccine against COVID, including the Delta variant, during this outbreak. So when I brought up the Massachusetts study, I was specifically speaking about the study, the study that they published here and other places. This is a specific study, Barnstable County, Massachusetts. This was a study. So again, the brother called me a liar. He didn't understand the study. There were no deaths in the study reported from the vaccinated people. You saw it. You need me to let me do this one more time. Overall, 346 persons with COVID reported symptoms consistent with COVID-19. 5 were hospitalized, and as of July the 27th, no deaths were reported. As of July 27th, no deaths were reported. As a fact checking for misrepresented CDC's Provincetown COVID-19 outbreak report. This is pretty much just backing up the data here and going through, as you can see. According to the report, 469 people included in the study who were in the area between July the 3rd, July 17th tested positive for COVID. 74% were fully vaccinated. A total of 5% were hospitalized, 4 of them vaccinated, and there were no deaths. 90% of the subset people who had sequencing performed on their samples infected with the Delta variant. Although not mentioned in the report, the outbreak overlapped the July 4th weekend, a Bear Week, Provincetown's annual gathering of gay men. 85% of the, this is what y'all didn't know, 85% of the identified infections were in males. In the summer, the town's population swells to approximately 60,000 people. They specifically talked about an event that happens every year in Barnstable, Massachusetts. This was an event that they watch because of its annual gathering for who? Yeah. So in the study that I mentioned, I specifically said there were no deaths during the breakthrough and the hospitalizations was minimal. This rest assured that there was no problems with the vaccines. They were working. And then here we got the CDC numbers again, it's 6,500, but we got, you know, compared to 163 million vaccinated, but we got the dear brother talking about some spooky stuff, saying that that the vaccines, that the hospitalizations was actually higher, and that I needed to go look at a Facebook group to get some information. So in conclusion, if you're going to call into a show, at least know what the hell you're talking about before you start talking. Make that a point. Don't say that Sean lied. Sean's referring to an event that is held in Massachusetts. They called it the study. Out of that study, there it is, MMWR study. Out of that study, no one died. I didn't say anything about the state of Massachusetts. I said a study, Barnstable, Massachusetts study. And I was called a liar. And then the numbers was fabricated because he then went on to say 12,000 people was reported dead by VAERS reporting system. And that is just a reporting system, is not an actual fact. And that number is half the number that he insinuated. And to add on top of that, he went from Massachusetts to Illinois and then started talking about across the country. So we looked at the KFF file that shows us all the reported data from at least 25 states that don't even agree with him there. In general, if I had been told last summer that Bear Week would go ahead in 2021 with minimum intervention and led to an outbreak of 900 plus, but that upshot would be 7 hospitalizations and no deaths, I would be amazed, said Harvard's Hennig, referring to the totals beyond those reports of the MMR study. Even more if I'd been told about Delta. In the midst of the Delta variant spreading like wildfire, they only had 7 people that was hospitalized and no deaths. So he jumped out the window, assuming that I was talking about a state, showing his ignorance and displaying his attempt to have a comprehension problem. And now I wanted to go ahead and clear the case. So let's hear the second caller.
Thank you. All right. Area code 314, last 3953. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to get a comment out.
Montoya,
I think you got your radio. You got the show in the background. You got the show in the background. Go ahead, brother.
I agree with the last caller. This incident, this pandemic we have, is highly unusual the way it's being presented to the public. And of course, when that happens, it brings up the susceptibility. You got rewards given, money given, scholarships, and you got people being censored, sources being censored. Me, myself, I'm not taking the vaccination for a simple reason. All through my decades of living, I have never took a vaccination except for one back when I was a child for chickenpox. So it's just too much. And finally, the politics. So you can understand why there's such a heated discussion. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your thoughts, Brother Pianki. All right, Brother Unc, if you will, King. Definitely wanted to, maybe a quick response to those callers, but the other.
He let Unc respond, but Mike messed up. So the chickenpox vaccine became available in 1995. If we go back and we listen to this caller, he sounds well over in his 50s. Because I knew that when I was a kid, I ain't had no chickenpox vaccine. I was infected with chickenpox. My mama would have straight up gave me that. But let's see what happened right here. I want y'all to pay close attention to what's about to happen.
Thing was, you only got a few minutes. The Delta and Lambda variants, from what I understand, the current vaccines are pretty strong against the Delta. What are we seeing against the Lambda variants? And we only got a few minutes on the show, so please give people that information.
Well, so I'm not even going to address the callers. I'm gonna say one thing, that the average age of the people that died in Massachusetts, right, had underlying conditions. The average age was 66 years old. So if you leave that factor out, right, then you misconstrue the whole study. Another point, in the history of evolution, I've never heard of evolution having a particular direction, going back to the source. That's not evolution. That's just saying anything. I've never heard that. All the evolutionary textbooks, I own hundreds of them. There is no direction to evolution. So a virus can't go back to the source. That's like saying you.
Well, let me ask this real quick. Real quick question. I'll let you finish. Quick question. So the way I understood it was, if the hypothesis is that this was manipulated, that might be why you see it going in one direction. Because I understand what you're saying, that evolution on its own doesn't have a direction. I think the hypothesis that we're hearing from Jack is that if this has been manipulated, this might be one of the results. So I don't know if he's just saying that's what it is. He's just saying if you keep watching it and if it does that might be due to their hypothesis that manipulation may happen. I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's how I understood that perspective of why he was saying it. Go ahead, brother.
So let me clean that up. So all of us have canines in our home. And all living canines trace their origin back to the Grey Wolf. At no point will your canine in your house, right, go back to being the Grey Wolf. Remember, you got natural selection, which occurs in nature, and artificial selection, where human beings actually manipulate, like domestication, breeding, right? So human beings can actually curve evolution by using what? Artificial selection. Selecting the breed to look this way. Mix this breed with that breed. So in nature, that doesn't happen. Even if you thought you could, you couldn't take your canine and breed it back to be a Grey Wolf. That has never happened in the history of evolution nor biology. So I just want to make
a lot of sense.
Shout out.
Makes a lot of sense. I respect that. That's what I'm gonna do. Let me do. I've got a minute and a half, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an extended 10 minutes if y'all have time, and people that listen to the actual after show, they'll be able to catch.
The whole time that he's sitting there and let Unc answer the question, I'm muted now, and I'm trying to talk. I'm texting Unc, telling him let me on because he let dude just call me a liar. And he ain't let me say what I needed to say. And then he would later on call back and say something about I had background noise and all this, that, and the third. I didn't have no background noise. I had no background noise whatsoever. I cut in to tell him to let Unc speak. And then I cut in again because I'm trying to say, man, can I respond to that? He called me a liar. And he like, well, we ain't going to do this on this show. How? He just called me a liar and we're not doing this on your show. I didn't call him anything. He didn't even know what the hell I was talking about.
That's just 10 minutes, but I do want to make sure that if y'all want to get out any public information, y'all do it at this time. You got 30 seconds if you just want to let people know how they can follow Pseudo Killers. And I'm going to go back to Jack to see if he wants to let people know how they can get access to his research as well. And then find out if he has 10 minutes to, stay on for the after hours, if you will. So get it out real quick. How do they get in contact with the Pseudo Killers? And I want to turn it over to Jack as well as our special guest.
First of all, go to the Mossy Clan and the Science with Sean. So that's the Science with Sean on YouTube, Mossy Clan Warriors, right? Type it in, Mossy Clan Warriors, then type in Pseudo Killers. Okay, we dedicate ourselves to scientific literacy and the study of West Africa and just Black history in general. So you can let Sean go ahead and.
I love it. All right. If you will, Jack, do you want to get out any information on how people can follow your research as well? And I don't know, do you have an extra 10 minutes just to have, straight up dialogue between everybody for the after show, if you will?
Yeah, sure. But we were actually
when I was talking about the Delta variant, I didn't even know about the Lambda variant until you kind of shared it with me on my video. But at the time, you were pretty confident about how the vaccine worked against the Delta variant. I don't know if I'm wrong.
I mean, it's,
like,
listen,
you didn't want to say that on the show unless I missed something.
No, I think that we're starting to see in the past couple of weeks big changes in the effectiveness of where the vaccine was a couple of weeks ago. It's a big, and one thing I want to clear up with these two gentlemen, because they're really not understanding what I'm saying. Our hypothesis is, or we're leaning towards, SARS-CoV-2 is an LAV, which means it itself is a live attenuated virus. If it is a live attenuated vaccine, not a virus vaccine, if it is a vaccine, it's going to de-attenuate to its original state. So it's not a virus that's going backwards. It's a vaccine that will de-attenuate, just look up de-attenuation of vaccines, to its original form. And that's what it looks like from a biological and genomic standpoint. I can give you hundreds of papers and research that shows that's what this looks like, what this is. Is it? Maybe.
Can I ask a quick question? And I definitely want to let them respond freely. These questions are from my understanding, y'all. I'm not trying to cut y'all off. So what I think I understand is you were talking about this one part where whatever the FCS, or maybe I'm saying it wrong, where maybe, like the Dr. Morgan in North Carolina, I might say his name wrong as well, but that doctor has come up with a way where they can kind of splice it and it not be noticed by people or whatever.
Absolutely.
So are
Just
you
look up
saying
Ralph
that
Barrett.
this splice, right, but yeah, okay, but are you suggesting that whatever may have been done, since that's your hypothesis, or you're saying that's what may have turned this into the LAV that I'm hearing? I'm just trying to make sure I'm following.
This is, let me explain this really easy, because it's something that everybody should spend some time looking into. A multitude of programs. And just so you know, I think we're close, because the group is under attack from the CCP, from the Chinese Communist Party. They actually put out a video going crazy on us. Everybody, whether it's the United States, China, you got to understand, China and the United States have been cooperating in research for years. And most of it's very good research. It's not bad research. Australia, so forth and so on. We believe that they were working on, and you can find the proof of this. Again, research Dr. Ralph Barrett. We've been trying to work on a pan-coronavirus vaccine. In other words, a vaccine that will treat every coronavirus, MERS, SARS, so forth and so on. During the process of that, we believe that the vaccine, not completed, accidentally escaped. Very simple lab accident. Lab accidents happen all day long. Most of them don't cause any problem, but these do. And that's what we believe this is. It's a live attenuated vaccine. So it's not actually a virus. It's a vaccine against a virus, which has caused a virus because it wasn't completely attenuated. We believe the backbone for that virus was found in a cave in, actually a mine shaft in Yunnan in 2013. And we can give you tons of scientific knowledge around that. There's a central mechanism that controls immune responses mediated by the interferons. This has that. It has signatures in the genome which indicate protection strategy. It has that. It has viral proteins in the IFN signals that shows that. It shows a kidney cell line, RAK4324, which shows that. So all the things through genomic study, scientific study, is showing all these things inside here. If you want to read a paper which talks about a TRS transcription leader by Ralph Barrett, it was done in 2018. He invented these processes. So this is not some nefarious bioweapon. they were trying to create a vaccine. There was a lab accident, and I don't think the lab accident happened at WIV either. I think it happened at the Chinese CDC, which is actually closer to the wet market than the WIV is. There's all these strange insertions in the genome, which look like basically they're trying to create a vaccine. That's what it looks like. Now, China's not going to admit that because China's number one purpose in life is to save face. That's all they care about. There's also a Chinese concept there called mandate of heaven, which we don't think about because we're Western guys. But they believe, natural disasters and things like this, signify the gods telling them that the emperor or the ruler is wrong and should be replaced. There's all these extraneous things going on. So if this was a vaccine in progress, then it will revert and go backwards to a de-attenuated state. That's a normal process to happen. What's going to happen? Don't know. If Lambda comes here, we're not going to shut the borders. The borders are at the highest level of, I think it's 1 million people in the past 6 months. It's in Central America. It's in California. I think another state, there's Lambda. We don't know how that's going to react.
If you will, I'm curious. I'm curious as to what, I don't know if they said on the line because I'm on my board, but I'm curious to hear what Uncle Sean may have to say about what you said. I think you're trying to provide some clarity. So I'm curious to what they may be thinking or if they have any questions. I don't know. If y'all, are y'all still on the line, brother, or did y'all get off?
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Before he goes into the Lambda, I want to hear what y'all had to. Yeah, what's your thoughts? I'm curious to hear what y'all are hearing.
I think I got. Yeah, what I'm hearing is personal opinion, and I want to keep it proper as possible. But I'm trying to figure out, where is this coming from? That backbone that he talked about. We talked about that. They haven't found that nowhere in it. That particular lab, Munam, wasn't even working on that. So we find that backbone in nature, but we don't find that or them remotely working close to anything like that in the lab. And I think that's the point I wanted to bring up on the live show, that for that to even escape out the lab, they would have had to been at least working with something close to that. They don't even have that. No evidence of that. They publish papers, right? We're corresponding back and forth with scientists. They don't have that in there to even begin.
Do you really believe that China? Do you really believe China is going to upload?
Jack, I never cut you off, Jack. Please not cut me off, bro. I let you talk. Let me finish my point out. I'm saying is I'm not working off belief, Jack. I'm working off the fact that scientists have relationships with each other. Even when governments break down, scientists have relationships. They don't want to be in a politics of it. They're torn apart. As a matter of fact, if Trump would have had some sense and worked with the scientific community in China, they would have given us all the information we needed to figure it out. But based off of the sticking out the chest, it's all crazy. It is broken down talk with government, and the scientific community, they still talking though, Jack. So it's not based on what I believe. You know and I know, right? Based off the people that you claim you work with, they should have contacts with scientists in China. So I'm not working off belief. I'm simply saying we only know what we know. And right now we know that backbone that you talked about, the DNA sequences that would allow them to even tinker with that particular virus to allow it to escape, they wasn't even working with them in the lab. But go ahead, Sean.
Oh, Sean's not there. Do you really believe that China uploaded every sequence they have into GenBank?
I don't know, Jack.
Do you really believe that?
I don't know.
Of course they did.
I don't know. Do you know?
You also know that they took their data bank offline in January of last year?
Yeah.
Listen. Again, I respect the hell out of the fact that you're looking. I respect the hell out of the fact of your intelligence.
You got to go way deeper to start to put some of these lines together. You're not wrong. I'm not saying you're not wrong. But if I'm not holding to the fact that I'm 100% right, and I'm not holding to that point, you can't be either.
Hold
and
on,
I'm also saying,
Sean's line. Hold on 1 second, Jack. You got to unmute Sean's line.
Oh, okay, my bad.
And another thing that I was saying before we had a break, are you familiar with the entire situation that occurred with the miners in 2013?
The miners
Because
that you're talking about?
Yeah, we are the ones who found the Chinese thesis.
Do not entertain it.
We're the ones who found it. One of my guys, Seeker, actually found the thesis, and it was the thesis that really changed the whole complexion here, because we have their medical records, we have their CAT scans, we have their X-rays, we have everything. Something happened there, and that was a zoonotic event. So the question, and if you go there and you look since then, you're talking 40,000 samples in one region. Why? Because they found something there. And it's a natural, and to assume or to believe that China is on the up and up with anybody. I mean, it's just absurd. It's not even a possibility. Something like that becomes a state secret. When you think of the possibility, if this was zoonotic, right, there's a lot of things are going to have to be proven for it to be zoonotic. And a lab leak doesn't even necessarily mean manipulation. But you're refusing to hear that. They could have found a sample.
I understood that.
They could have found a sample in the wild. And by the way, December 2nd of 18, they actually had moved the CDC, the Chinese CDC, to a new building. All it's going to take is a thought out sample that could have been H2H already to start this whole thing rolling. It's just, there's so much going on here, so much in-depth insanity going on here. First thing you can't believe is any government, whether it's the US, especially not China, or anybody else. And, going back to, Dr. Gary, what I want you to do after we hang up, right, is I want you to Google search Dr. Gary and grants and look at how many millions and millions and millions of dollars he's pulled in from the NIH. So if the NIH's situation is going to be zoonotic, he's going to say zoonotic. So would you. So would I. If the NIH says lab leak, he's going to say a lab leak, because you don't bite the hand that feeds, right? You don't walk up to your boss and say, fuck you. So all these guys are just dirtbags, all of them.
So Jack, one question, Jack. Why would you actually interject that? When you interject that you're actually interjecting doubt. And we're talking science. We're not worrying about the political climate. We're not worried about.
You have to worry about that, because you're thinking science is purely based upon a paper someone wrote. These papers are influenced by money and politics. All of them.
Hold on, Jack. Hey, Montoya, you reading them out again.
No, I'm gonna let him back in. He was just busy in the background talking. So, Sean, if you hear me now, I'm about to let you back. I'm about to let you back in. Yeah, I'm about to let you back in, brother. So, Sean, I'm about to let you back in. You were just talking, so I put you back on mute. Sorry about that. All right, go ahead, Sean.
Jack, if that's the case, Jack,
Go
ahead, Sean.
What I want to say real quick, okay, is first, the Massachusetts study proved the vaccines work. The brother has said what he said on.
They're not on.
I understand that. I understand that. But he said I lied. So that was that. I want to make sure that that's clear, that there was zero deaths. That's evidence.
It's not on the show, bro. So I just want to get on this conversation.
I know. And VAERS reporting is not 12,000. It's 6,000. Okay. So we want to make sure that when we're dealing with stuff, that we're keeping it honest. And I don't think the public knows that. So in the conversation that we're having right now, we're going too far down a rabbit hole regarding this whole concept of a lab leak. If you have the evidence, it has not been presented, and it's 2 years. The further away that we get from 2019, late November 2019, we're losing ground. So we have to be honest in that assertion. This whole conversation is about data. It's not about personal feelings. It's not about beliefs. It's about data. What we can show, what we can demonstrate, which allows us to prove. We don't have it. We have to be honest in the assessment and say what we have and what we don't have.
So here it is. What you just said is fair. Just keep in mind, I wasn't doing, just throwing this out. I wasn't doing a scientific only conversation on the show from this standpoint, because to a sense, we still have to be able to take our data and bring it to real world. So these are just questions I would have from this standpoint. Like, yeah, if you were just saying, do you have the information to prove, or like even what y'all are saying to Jack right now, which is cool. Like, I don't think he's saying I have the scientific data at this point, but some of these questions is how a lot of times conspiracies in the past have been uncovered, is because scientists do keep pushing the envelope on, does this make sense? So when you ask him why would he interject it, here's my opinion, and Jack can speak for himself, but I'm just telling you how I'm reading it, is it's from the perspective of what does it mean for us in the real world, and you're still waiting for. Now, the thing I understood, tell me this is wrong.
It doesn't mean anything in the real world, though, Montoya.
Go ahead.
Because the virus is here. The virus is here. It has no. Now, the real world effect is that we're in the middle of a pandemic. The virus is here. This whole notion of trying to prove a lab leak. The whole notion of trying to prove a lab leak is irrelevant, because it's here. People have died. People are getting sick. People are getting infected, reinfected, and otherwise.
Right. But did you hear? Did you hear? We're trying to have a conversation. That's what we're missing.
Yeah, no. I'm not dismissing that.
It's a conversation, not trying to be scientific to that degree.
Yeah, no.
It's just
I understand.
in the conversation.
What I'm saying from a real world perspective, it has no credence to a layperson. Because we're trying to figure out how to still go to work.
No, I get it, but right now it's just us, dog. Like, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, but listen. You're saying you want to have a conversation about science. I'll be glad to have that conversation with you purely on science. And it's like, if we're talking about. Okay, but wait a minute.
No, that's for my regular show, bro. You got to me like 2 degrees. That's not who does it.
So let me throw my thing. I can say the racist government that enslaved black people is definitely trying to kill us. I can throw my opinion in there, but that don't mean a hill of beans, because that does not have to apply to.
No, I'm not disagreeing. What I'm saying is, for this
right, I'm saying I
just
did all that though, Montoya.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Just hear me out, bro. Just hear me out 1 second. For this after hour part, you say I got this information, and Jack says I got this information. Now we're just saying, hey. Do you trust the Chinese government? So you can say it to you as a brother, like just you talking. Do you trust? Yeah, it's like we just having a after hours. Is just yeah. I'm saying get out of what we're in the after hours. We're just the two of us just having a conversation. So he's not presenting. Do you trust the Chinese government as some type of scientific thing? He's just asking you, based, and he's saying, here's why my group is still researching this. It's not he said, I'm not trying to say I'm 100% right. He's just having at this point, it's just a discussion between us.
No, I mean, you're saying that I'm not presenting scientific evidence. Let's say this is an LAV, all right? Let's say this is. First of all, there's circuit breakers inside LAVs, which is really interesting here. That makes no sense. Is this genome has an IFN hypersensitivity, which the first SARS didn't. When the first SARS, still they want to say pangolins, whatever. And there's viral proteins in the IFN that would be affected by attenuation, like the NSP3, right? So why is that in there? There's truncation changes in the ORF6. That doesn't make any sense. There's BAT immortalized kidney cell line expressing HAC. That doesn't make any sense. The QTQTN is a mode of proximal to the FCS. That doesn't make any sense. So there's purely scientific genomic things inside this genome that doesn't make any sense unless you're creating a vaccine. That's the interesting thing. You know, even the CPG, I think, the CPG is different than SARS or MERS, which looks like it's trying to be attenuated. So everything inside this genome, scientifically, right? Scientifically, looks like it's trying to create a vaccine. And
but Jack, hold on, Jack. Hold on for a minute, Jack. Let me make this point. You are insinuating a whole lot.
No, I'm not. I'm reading blast. You're not reading blast.
Let me finish. I can read a blast like you can read a blast, but neither one of us
can't.
Yeah, yes, I can. No more than you can.
Bring up blast. Bring up blast right now.
You Jack. So we can
blast it right now, and I'll blast it right now. We'll both blast it at the same time.
Let me finish my point, though, Jack. The point I want to make, and I'm serious with this point right here. Right? We're in the conversation. I'm thinking you already know that I'm not going to interject what I feel. Okay? Science only knows what it knows, and we rely on the experts. So for my conversation, it might not be for yours. When you make the statement that you're making, we should be allowed to read the data that you're claiming you're privy to. That's pushed this particular envelope. You set out your mouth that it's your group of scientists that is actually pushing the envelope. I looked at one of the scientists, one of the guys. As a matter of fact, his name was, I'll give you his name. For the conversation, I actually looked at it, right? My little research, right? I looked at it. And hold on, I want to get his name correct here, right? And I think the conversation, we probably should have just did a whole day. What they would say, about you, Charles Rexy? Am I saying that right?
He's not a scientist.
Right, he's not a scientist. So then
he's just a data guy.
So okay, so you respect his opinion?
No, I don't. He just collects information.
Let me just. I'm trying to add clarity. I'm trying to add some clarity. So this is what I'm hearing, and y'all tell me if y'all not hearing this. And this is me just listening. I'm just trying to listen. But I think all I think I heard Jack say was, "Here's why our group is curious." That's just being shared with you, not making a point. So I think y'all are hearing him say, "Here's why we're curious, because these things don't make sense." I think y'all are hearing him make a point that disagrees with you. I think he's just pointing out why the group is going down this path. And am I understanding you, Jack? Or am I?
Listen, a lot of 1 and 1 doesn't come up to 2, and as long as 1 and 1 don't come up to 2, listen, the easiest thing in the world, the best thing in the world. I mean, you got another problem here that we didn't even touch on. If this thing builds an animal reservoir, which it's starting to build, and if that reservoir can kick back to human, we've got an even bigger problem. And 40% of the deer in the United States are currently infected. So it's building an animal reservoir. We've got all kinds of problems going on. We've done such massive research, not just going through Google or the internet. I mean, these are scientists using BLAST. These are scientists using all their expertise that they've had for millions of years. Now, some of them leave me in the dust on a day-to-day basis because they're so far advanced. One of these guys, Dayu, the kind of things that he can come up with, he's like the Rain Man of fucking genomics. He's unbelievable. None of the answers are coming up correctly. They're not coming up correctly for zoonosis.
Right, and let me. I want to let the brother speak as well. I want Uncle Sean to speak as well. So, but as I hear you say that, Jack, am I not hearing you just saying, "Hey, here's what we're seeing. Here's what we're curious. Here's what we're curious about. This is why we're going on this path," and I'm just sharing it with you guys. I don't think you're making a point to say that they're wrong, that these guys are wrong right now. You're
no,
saying,
they could be 1,000% right.
This is the shit that we're curious about, and that one. Because you said to me that if you find some of the things that I hear Unc and Sean saying, you will easily be like, okay, that's what it is. You're just saying why. You're just sharing with these guys why you're curious. You're not trying to make a point right now.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to contest the position. or tell them that
Right,
their
that's what
position's
that's
wrong.
what I'm thinking is getting misunderstood here, right?
You know, their position could be 1,000% right.
It's getting misunderstood because we keep getting cut off. That's why it's really getting misunderstood.
Okay, that's part of it, but I'm just saying, I feel like,
Right.
but did you hear what he just
I
said?
don't see
He's not
Jack
making
getting
a
cut
point.
off, though. I don't see Jack get cut off in the middle of this conversation at
Okay,
all.
but I'm just saying that if he's not making a point, can we have a dialogue about, he's just saying these are the things they're curious about.
But you're
And I want to hear
you
what
and
y'all
Jack
think about it.
Yes, but you and Jack are the only two people on the show, you can do a poll, that actually thinks that Jack don't really think that what he's saying is correct or remotely closer to the truth.
What you mean correct? He keeps saying over and over, he doesn't know if it's correct. I don't understand what you say. Why are you saying that? He's offered on the show that he's not saying it's correct.
I told you. Every person he brings out, anti-Fauci, anti-government, and it all points to one thing, Montoya. Like, I can't keep saying that I love white people, but everything I talk about is talk about what they did, what they didn't do. At a certain point, you start saying, well, that's interesting. I can't say that I don't mind the homosexual community, but everything I say is anti-homosexual community. At a certain point, you're going to look at me like, but everything you said supports the idea that you're actually against the homosexual community. I don't know why you not understand that, Montoya.
Because I don't understand the science enough to know that. That's the honest truth.
Oh, okay.
I'm being straight up with you right now, bro.
Right. I like that.
Yeah. To me, it sounds like just being curious about these things that don't add up. So I'm being honest.
I got you. Yep.
That's why I'm saying to you. I thought that's why I thought the dialogue was. I don't know that these things are anti-this, because I don't understand it.
Yeah. I hear the whole piece.
Yeah, I don't,
right?
But I didn't. So that's why you got to understand where I'm coming from.
All the extra information. It was information put in there that had no bearing on the conversation, but it's made to look that way. I mean, I appreciate Jack though. Jack understands science. Be around it. I yearn for a conversation like this on a daily basis. I ain't mad. To be honest with you, I think we got a fair shake at it. Yeah.
So are you saying that those things that he's saying don't add up, or not things that they should be curious about?
The things he's saying is unfounded. He don't have the data to back that up. There is no data of anything walking out of the lab. They won't produce the data. I hear the conversation, where is the data? We can produce the data on the other side that would make you lean towards that. That's the point that we're making right here. There is no data. Where's the data to show that he was even working with that particular backbone in that lab? Or you got to at least be 98% close before you can even start messing with the genome. So where is that data? There is no data that points towards that. There is no data for none of that. It's just good talk right now. So I'm not mad at the challenge, because that's what science is. It's self-correcting. But I don't like the way it's being presented as if they got the data. Or it looks that way, it looks that way. Okay, that's cool. But where's the data to show that it looks that way? That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you to blast it and you'll see it. I'm telling you, blast it and you'll see it.
So why, okay, you're going to publish that?
Blast it.
Publish on the other side? No,
blast
I mean,
the genome of
conclusions.
Blast the genome of SARS-CoV-2 and look at it. You'll see everything I'm talking about. Something doesn't look right. That doesn't mean it's 100% correct. That doesn't mean it's 100% not. And what I also said to you, but you didn't want to hear because you're taking this personal and it's not, is something happened to the miners that was zoonotic. So the question becomes, was a sample taken from that mine shaft, stored in Wuhan, and thawed out accidentally? And is that the actual virus? If that's the case, then it's a zoonotic virus. If that's not, and the other point is, I don't think anybody should believe that any sequence that China has is randomly stored on GenBank. I mean, I can bring you into the whole RATG 134991 controversy, which is unbelievable how they had those genomes since 2013 and didn't upload them until after the pandemic, which is just remarkable. And when they uploaded RATG 13, and 13 means 2013, right? It's so altered and so bizarre looking that it could only be a consensus sequence. So a lot of these things I'm talking about, there's tremendous proof and validation for that are scientific and the data is there. But you have to really go deep, really deep from a scientific side. Fortunately, I have 27 people who do that because they smoke me intellectually. It's the only time in my life I've ever felt fucking ignorant. And I'm not ignorant, right? But these guys, are of an intellect and a specialty, right? It's a specialty because what they do is very, 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 very specific and have done it their whole life, right? Yeah. So when I look at what these guys can do.
Hold on, Jack. Watch this. You know what I appreciate? And I'm going to have to leave the conversation. What I appreciate is that with science, it's not even based off of who the smartest is. It's not based off of that. That's why I love science. It's based off of who can show repeatedly what they're saying. That's why I love science. So if these guys are that intelligent, then they need to publish the work and allow the rest of us to read the data. Those that are qualified in virology and immunologists, right? Publish the work. Then you'll say, well, wait a minute.
Well, actually,
I know something's up there.
We have the first. There are published papers and peer-reviewed papers from the group. You just haven't found them. Look at Rosanna Segretto's, Dr. Segretto, Dr. Dinan. I mean, there are published papers. Dr. Mona Rahul. I mean, look at these. They exist. They're published and peer-reviewed.
I know where they're at. I know where we're at.
You can find them. You could, if you want me to give Montoya a link, I'll give you a link.
Yeah, send it to Montoya. Yeah, see that.
But they're published and peer reviewed. But this, feels like there's nothing I gain if this was a lab leak. There's nothing you gain if this was zoonotic, right? The fact is,
I agree.
I totally agree. It's still a fucking disaster no matter which way you look at it, right?
Yep.
The only thing that needs to happen is if it is zoonotic, right? Then we spent about $70 billion on a complete failure. Because Predict, NIAID, EcoHealth, all of them have been funded for fucking decades to prevent this from happening. Especially Predict. It was their job to find potential spillovers.
So you're not familiar with Peter Hotez? You're not familiar with Peter Hotez?
Peter Daszak or Peter? Which one?
Peter Hotez. Peter Hotez.
Yeah.
He's pretty thorough with it. Remember, he lost funding, so he was already working on coronaviruses. So I'm saying it's not like it's a net like. We human beings have been in the arms race against viruses since the first day we evolved on planet Earth. So
you know what? It sounds to me like, and Montoya can tell you, right? He knows me pretty well. I have no political party at all.
I can't tell though, Jack. I can't tell.
Yeah, but because this is what you believe, or you believe I'm a Republican, and you're wrong. Right? You're wrong about that.
No, I don't think he's a Republican.
Well, you just said you don't believe that. If, for instance...
No, I said I don't believe that you don't have a political stance.
I don't. I voted Democrat. I voted Republican. I vote whoever I feel like at the moment that person best expressed what I want.
Yeah, I carry your same sentiments, Jack. So I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I want you to know.
If Obama was able to have a third term, this would have never happened.
Yep, because Obama was financing that area.
Well, Obama was completely aware of all of the dangers of studying any of this, whether it be gain of function or whether it just be Predict or things like that. And when I talk about Fauci, who I think is a fucking moron, right? He went against Obama. He completely subterfuged Obama. Obama put a moratorium on gain of function. Fauci said, fuck that, and channeled it through EcoHealth. Obama saw exactly what was going on. I wish we had a third term with Obama. So, we've got big problems here.
And the support didn't do gain of function. That wasn't considered gain of function. You supposed to know that, Jack. That wasn't gain of function. He just said it a million times.
Yes, it was gain of function.
Oh,
yes, it was gain of function. Stop reading just the internet. Go deeper.
Not though, right? No, I'm just saying. So hold on. I'm just saying. So Ferralti actually said it wasn't gain of function. I just want to make sure that he said that. He said that. Am I correct? When he argued with the
Fauci, yeah, but listen, Fauci's full of shit about everything. When Fauci came out and screamed remdesivir was a game changer, which it's not, if you remember him saying that, and you could go find that on YouTube, found out, Fauci screaming remdesivir is a game changer. It did nothing. It's not used. And if you want to figure out why he said it was a game changer, it's because the NIH and Barrick co-owned the patent on it. Go do research on that. Remdesivir is garbage. And Fauci screamed that it was a game changer.
So can I make this point though? And I'm gonna end with this point. It's called
I'm gonna close it out as well.
SARS.
I don't know, Sean, if you're still there.
No, he got mad and left. It's called the SARS. It's called the novel SARS coronavirus 2. Right? Based off of that word, novel, meaning for the first time in the history of humanity, that this particular virus and pathogen has attacked humanity or has attacked the immune system. So scientists are learning on the fly. So one moment, Ferralti could say, yeah, we need the mask. And then next week, he say no, right? 1 week is transmitted through touching items. The next week is airborne. So you know science like I do, right? They are allowed to change their mind based off of more available evidence. So the conversation is a great conversation. I appreciate it, right? Watch out for those who misconstrued the gray area. Watch out for those who misconstrued and misunderstand science and think that because 1 minute I say we don't need a mask, the next minute I say that all of a sudden I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. No, we're being faced with a novel disease. Appreciate you, Montoya. Appreciate you, Jack. It's a great conversation, man. I appreciate the level of wisdom.
Have a good weekend, man.
Appreciate you, Montoya, for having me here, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
Hey, thank y'all for being willing to dialogue and do this. Thank y'all for being willing to dialogue.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Montoya.
Appreciate y'all. No, I appreciate y'all.
I like it.
All right, so that's the end of the clip. It's only like 9 seconds left before it ends. So what y'all just heard was after the show ended and the follow-up conversation that pursued. And that's pretty much what happened. Jack claims to not have a political stance. Jack claims to have some type of evidence for a lab leak, but ultimately Jack didn't have any evidence for a lab leak. And it took 2 hours and 37 minutes for him to come out and really say what he just said. And the truth of the matter is he has a problem with Fauci and the NIH. He's anti-Fauci and the NIH. We still don't know the underlying issues for that. However, in the discussion that we actually had with Jack, we laid out some solid rebuttals. It wasn't a debate, it was a conversation, but we rebutted a lot of stuff that he said, and we addressed certain claims that was made by the commentary that Montoya put in between commercial breaks or played in between after the commercial breaks. And ultimately, the information is there. Although Jack tried to take a couple of shots talking about blasting sequences and us not being scientists or we can't understand this data just from reading it, it was a bunch of pump faking, because ultimately Jack's position was incorrect. Like, if you have evidence for a lab leak, I can tell you right now, the lineage lines would have shown coming from the lab. You would have had traces of the sequences found in the lab. The animals, like, they can't get rid of all of that. They're going to make the mistake of missing something in particular. So what we just witnessed was a bunch of pump faking by Jack. And Montoya doing what Montoya does for Jack. Allow Jack to speak the majority of the time and then cut us off when he felt the need. And me specifically, cut people off and then, not bring us back on to answer certain questions. I didn't have a problem with it because I'm used to it. You know what I mean? When you go on other people's platforms or channels, they don't let you get your full thought out because they think that you're going exhausting. And I don't microwave shit. So I don't care how people feel about that. I'm not going to microwave it. I'm going to give you whether it's technical or layman, I'm going to give it to you the best way that I can explain it. And hopefully you comprehend it or rewind the show back. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be on the lookout for more news regarding up and coming publications. SARS-CoV-2 book is slowly being edited, but we're making some progressions. It's literally we're halfway through the editing. The next couple of chapters should be, movable. I know there's another long chapter in there, and that's because of the disinformation and pseudoisms that's going to be dealing with claims. So we got to, make sure that we take our time through that and make sure it's accurate. I did not want to deter from the sources used to refute the information and all of that. So you're going to see a lot of that in there. And then when we get to the back of the book regarding the bonus materials, both of those we should be able to edit that pretty quickly. And then it'll just go from there. We'll be able to proceed with everything else. So, maybe late September, we get that going, and then we'll see where we are when we get done with this book. And then hopefully we get into the book on Islam, the coming of Islam in the Balad al-Sudan, the land of the blacks. Hopefully we'll be able to get into that book and get that book out by late September, October. And then we should be cool from that point. So I don't know if anybody had any questions, comments, concerns. I did kind of rock out for a couple of hours, talked about different things, but kept it all about the science. Well, yeah, Kofi, he was cutting us off like crazy. But I didn't know if anybody had any questions, comments, concerns. I just dropped a link in the chat. Any anti-vaxxers? I don't know if Sutek wanted to hop on, and Sutek said, I'm a pre-order because I need the first copy. Sutek, I don't know if you want to come on and if you want to deal with that nut, or you want to try to talk about that at another time, or whatever that dude got up. I don't know if you want to deal with that. I know he don't want to have a conversation with me because it's really not a conversation. It's more so me teaching him because he doesn't know and he doesn't have a command of the subject matter and he doesn't study. So, it's like talking to a brick wall, and he's already been known to show us who he really is from the gate. So we really won't get too far in the conversation with him because he refuses to learn. Oh, okay, cool. All right, so man, ain't nobody else got nothing, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Y'all already know what it is with me when we do make it do what it do. I'll hit y'all one more time with this and another one.